When you're on this journey of really understanding yourself and tapping into your higher self, there's a lot of like little eggs that are hidden that contain our power. Think about like Easter egg hunting, when you're like finding the eggs in your backyard or your friend's backyard. And then when you find them and you open them and they have candy or they have money, you're like, oh my God, so much excitement. And then you put them in a basket wherever. You put them in a basket and then you go back and find some more. That's how I that's how I look at my reality. I look at my reality like I'm finding these Easter eggs that have a bunch of power in them. And on the path of developing yourself and spiritual enlightenment, if that's what you want to call it, you're going to find a lot of eggs that contain a lot of power. And we give our power to these eggs and we call it reality. And these eggs are a representation of patterns within ourselves, within our reality, etc. And these patterns might be judgment, it might be procrastination, it might be wealth, it might be certain beliefs that you have. Money always comes easily to me, or I have to work hard for money, or relationships suck. There's no freedom in relationships, or relationships complete me, or I complete me. I don't need anybody else, or I need someone to fill this void. And these patterns, we live through them, we create them, we perpetuate them, and then they show up in our reality. We call them real. So a lot of my work that I've done, I'm finding these eggs and withdrawing this power that I have given to these eggs. One of the main sources of power that keeps these patterns alive is judgment. And there's four main parts. I'm going to talk about one, which is judgment. When we judge our reality, or we judge ourselves, or we judge the people in our relationships, we are keeping the things that we don't like alive. It also works in our favor when we do enjoy someone or something about ourselves or other people. The judgment of, I like this, I really love this, this is awesome. It keeps it alive. However, it can set us up for disappointment, and it can have people act inauthentically when they think I have to be this way every single time. And I'll give a small example of this. There's sometimes where I'm not in a good mood. There's sometimes where I'm processing things and I get quiet. I don't talk a whole lot. I just kind of stay to myself. And the main reason why is because there's a lot going on in my head and I don't want to say anything that's going to hurt somebody else, because I'm really good at turning off my emotions and being very brash. And so I've learned to just shut up, don't say anything until I've cleared the air within myself, and then there's space and I can show up, I can just show up. But I'd rather not be extreme and say something that I don't mean. And that's a high possibility when I'm in these states. So the judgment can come at me with, what's wrong? Why aren't you happy? Is there something the matter? Like, what's going on? And I'll say, yeah, I'm a little off right now. But the judgment happens when like I'm silent, and then there's an expectation that Rob needs to be in a good mood all the time, or else I did something wrong. The other person might assume they did something wrong, which isn't the case. Like most of the time, it's just my own head. I'm crazy sometimes. I think we're all a little crazy, but I'm crazy sometimes. I create some stories and I'm aware of these stories, and then I'm breaking the stories down. What's real? What's not? Okay, cool. And then let's go live our life. And so that's what I mean by creating these judgments that can create disappointment, but then also almost like force somebody to act a certain way all the time. I don't like to do that to people. I like people to breathe and be themselves. And if you're in a weird mood, cool. We'll just keep moving as usual. Just tag along. When you're ready to pop back in, you're ready to pop back in. Don't worry about it. With the judgment part. All right. So there's a short story I want to share with you that's about my daughter and when I helped her break a habit a while back ago, when she used to rub the snot off of her nose like this. And this is relatable, I think, to everybody who's on this path and on this journey, who continues to go back to the same patterns, or they set an intention and they revert back to their old identity and their old patterns. This is also the case in relationships when you're trying to improve yourself in a relationship, or you're wanting someone else to improve themselves. When you're judging another person, like I was saying about inauthenticity, when someone's on the path and they mess up and that judgment comes out, it does put a lot more pressure on yourself, on the other person. It can put constraints on the relationship when you want everybody to be just themselves and be real, right? So this is something that I've seen across the board, even with clients who I've coached, with everything that they're dealing in life. But this one subject, even when it comes to, let's say, substance abuse, like alcohol, drugs, or something around that nature, I've noticed that the people who continue to stay stuck at the same capacity, meaning the same duration of usage, they have the strongest judgments of themselves. The people who have broken free or partially broken free or have become much healthier, and they have less judgment around themselves. They're more forgiving and more accepting of themselves. So the same happens in relationships. The same happens with yourself. When you're more accepting, you're able to grow more and expand more, because at the root of everything, it's our higher self, our expanded self. That's our true self. Like, that's really what's governing everything. Where we screw everything up is when our ego gets involved, our analytical mind gets involved, the judgments, when those get involved, when we cast those judgments out, that causes shrinkage. You know, the shrinkage of, the opposite of expanding self. So this story here I'm going to share with you because I hope that this connects with you so you could see the significance of what I'm saying here when you choose appreciation and gratitude and acceptance over this is horrible, this is bad, this is good, this is left, this is right. All of that is crap. You want to connect with your true self. Acceptance, love, growth, expansion. Everything else is just judgment. And we all know that judgment is subjective. It's subjective. That's it. So, story. My daughter, 9 years old. She's 17. She used to use her palm and wipe the snot off of her nose. I tried every angle to get her to stop. She didn't stop. She just justified it more and backed it up even more. I don't like my nose being raw. It's just easier. What's the big deal? It doesn't matter. I just wash my hands, stuff like that. I'm like, okay, whatever. So then one day it popped up. I was like, wow, this idea popped up of my sister, which is her aunt, who still does it till this day, and she has a line on her nose. And I said, hey, your Auntie Nikki? Have you seen that line on her nose she has? She's like, yeah, what's that from? I said, that's from her wiping her hand or wiping her nose with the palm of her hand. Still, to this day, she's like, wait, what? I'm going to get that on my nose if I continue doing this? Guaranteed. Oh my God, I have to stop. I can't do this anymore. How do I stop? Can you show me how to stop? And I said, yes. And so this is key number one, right? The desire has to come from yourself to stop something because you want to stop, okay? Because you want to. And I said, yes. And I said, on this path, on this journey, you're going to be tempted to judge yourself because now you really want to stop. And you're going to catch yourself after the swipe. After the swipe, you're like, I just did it again. Refrain from judging yourself. If anything, be grateful that you're now aware of when you're doing this and you're no longer justifying it. And then you're gonna catch yourself mid-swipe, and then you'll be like, oh my God, I caught myself mid-swipe. Celebrate, appreciate, just don't make yourself wrong for still continuing to do this, because when you make yourself wrong, you'll perpetuate the problem. You're energizing the problem. We don't want to energize the problem. We want to resolve it. And we resolve it by loving it, by literally loving it and accepting it. I want to share this quick note here. I believe that I worked myself out of my job, was it 7 years ago? Because I hated my job before, I was judging it, and I learned to love it. Because when we truly love something, we can let it go and be free. We truly accept what it is. We accept it is what it is. We accept it. Love is acceptance. And so anyways, that's why I said to her, I said, we need to love this experience and this process and the fact that you're doing it. No judgment. So I told her every single step you're going to take, and you're going to then remember before you even swipe, oh, tissue, but you're not going to have any tissue. So then you might still use your hand just for the moment. But now you made the choice. You're like, the tissue, but I need to do it now. And then you're going to remember the tissue next time. And then it's going to be like, boom, automatic. reach for the tissue, use the tissue. I said, probably like in a month, 28, 29 days, I'm going off of that subconscious rule to break a habit. Probably in a month, you'll break the habit. And she's like, no, I'm going to break it. I'm going to break it in a week. I said, okay, cool. I believe you. I believe you can do it. So sure enough, in a few minutes later, she had swiped, and then I'm watching her, right? She swiped. She's looking at her book, and she's like, I just swiped, and this is part of the process. I'm grateful I'm aware of this now. Do you have any tissue? I said, yeah, I got some right here. I gave her some napkins, and I said, they're a little bit rough right now. She's like, I don't care. And so she used it to wipe her hand, and she's like, I'm gonna get better at this. And so, that was on Sunday, and she went back with her mom. The next weekend, I said, hey, I brought some tissue for you. How's the habit breaking going? She's like, I already broke it. I'm like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, by Tuesday, I was done with it. And I'm like, oh my God, Jada, this is awesome. And I said, I'm so happy that you were actually like, you listened to this and you did this. And she's like, yeah, I did it all by myself. I said, you did it all by yourself. Like, I led you to the water. I was, I guess, in a way trying to take credit, but I led you to the water, but you had to drink from the well. You did it yourself. Good job, kid. And so I want to share this. I share this story with you because I want you to take in the part about being accepting and loving yourself, even through the hard times, even through the times where you want to judge yourself, even when the times when you want to judge other people for screwing up or for making the wrong decision or for making a mistake. We're all on this journey figuring it out individually and together. And the worst thing you could do is judge yourself and judge other people for the human experience. That's it. I hope this finds you well. If this sat with you well, press like and subscribe and share it with others. Thank you.